the three segments are: why a portfolio, the contents which should come in a portfolio, a very crisp and short. I'll just standardized it. It's a standard format which everyone use, and it is very key to know what are the contents in the portfolio in which sequence. Some benchmarks and examples I'm going to show you, 7 of it from the industry live, and all the famous designers, or it can be architect turned designer or engineer turned designer, everyone who have different professions. I have kept a different spectrum of the portfolios which they have kept. 7 are there. I have just kept it. There are some tools which you will be interested to make your portfolio. It can be free, it can be paid. I'll tell you the advantages and disadvantages of free and as well as paid tools. Okay. Why architecture to UX? There's a lot of question, a stereotypical question which is asked everywhere by a recruiter, by an interview person, or by your family itself. So I would want to tell you the similarities of architecture to UX, what I felt and I thought it was similar to design, and I took that step. In my previous session, I talked to you about resume. Resume is first eye-catchy thing. I would more elaborate and give a metaphor to it. Resumes are like teasers of any movie. If you get interested in your teaser or your trailer, you want to see the whole movie. The whole movie is nothing but the portfolio. So I would like to give, let's give an eye-catchy thing for 6 minutes for him to grab with a resume, and then show him your portfolio. But your portfolio should not be a lengthy movie of 3 hours or something. I can tell you a lot of movies which are lengthy and boring. I would want you all to make a short film kind of a thing, which with 3 or 4 minimum projects detailed out, you can actually build one good portfolio for yourself. So as you have seen resumes in my previous session, resume is just like kind of a trailer for your movie, and portfolio is actually your movie, which if they're interested in your resume, then your portfolio is detailed out and they can see. It's vice versa also. You can share your portfolio link to them. They can see it in a crisp manner. I'll show you some examples also, the benchmarks through which you can relate to what we are seeing into. The second point is that your portfolio brings you some freelance projects for you. It also gets you internships, and people love to see interested like example, if I'm working in any company called AHC, like Architect Hafiz Contractor, for any example, some architect over here mentioned that. So they would be really interested if you want to do freelance with them, or if you want to do internship with them. They would love to see your portfolio first, and your portfolio should not be in PDF formats or some content which is very confusing for them, and it takes more than 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Within 3-4 minutes, you should actually excite or entice your user to your portfolio. So this is the whole session. I'll let you know how that can be done in a minute, in a 2, 3 or 3 minutes of span. Okay. Definitely. Coming to next is your portfolio forces you to stay relevant in your career. Like it motivates you to keep updating your online portfolio as and when you need it. If 1 month has you have not upgraded your portfolio, and 1 month you have learned a lot and contributed in a project, then definitely you would love to update it on your portfolio itself also. So that is the encouragement which gives if you have an online portfolio or an online presence. Okay. Coming to the next point, all your portfolios right now, there was a trend in the past 2 years where portfolios drastically got changed into digitizing. Like previously, portfolios were in a form of books, in the form of and most very less people of them were online, had online portfolios, because a lot of online portfolios were not free. That was one of the reasons that online presences were not very much. Right now you have so many free online tools through which you can actually host your website. So you can freely host your website, and that can be helpful for you. So there is a drastic trend of change of digitizing your portfolios, and also it saved a lot of storage capacities. Like every company, if you give them PDFs in mail, they have too many, 20 MB or 10 MB of portfolios. They can't just download and put a hard drive for it. So an online link saves them that space, So most of the companies are encouraging digital online portfolios. Okay. While you have an online portfolio for any creative person, it definitely motivates and boosts your creative confidence. Creative confidence is nothing but giving you confidence of doing any creative stuff without thinking much about it. Like example, if my hobby is to, there is another session tomorrow of how to boost your creative confidence. I would elaborate that in that session. Then you'll understand this point of how to boost your creative confidence. Okay. So basically just understand that any creative thing which you do in your after 9 to 5, not between 9 to 5 job, after 5, something which builds up to your creative spectrum. Okay. And the final point is that it gives you a reality check. Where do you stand in the bigger audience? Okay. When you build a portfolio and don't get disheartened by rejections. This is a part of any creative person. Okay. Take it as a feedback and try to work on making your portfolio better and better, because every rejection is a reality check for you. Let's dive into the contents of the portfolio without any delay. Okay. In the previous session, I had some acronym or word for a resume of how to all candidates at ease if some people were there in the resume. Definitely this session has no such acronym because it is very short to remember and you can easily remember. These three content headers or the content sections, I would say, are crucial and standardly used for all famous portfolios out there for any creative field. Take it photography website. You need your introduction, you need your work, and you need how we should contact you if I'm interested in your work and your profile. This is the sequence: about, projects, and contact. About and contact is pretty much simple and sure short. You know what to do. About is your brief and what you do and for a living and what is your passion. Contact is all your medium contacts, possibly LinkedIn, Medium, if you're writing any blogs, LinkedIn, any Behance profiles or your portfolio, etc. Projects are a complex stuff, so I would want everyone to just note this down. Projects have more to it. Every project falls into these categories if you want to showcase your projects. Context, process, reflections. Context is nothing but I am new to your portal, I am new to your portfolio. I don't know how did you start this project? Why did you come to design an interior for a 4-year-old kid, interior design, or a school for kids of 10 years? That why did you design an app which helped for for caretakers of paralyzed people? Why did you do a photo shoot for a marriage bureau? So these are some of the things. Definitely you have to build a context around it. Context is nothing but why I took the project the way I took it. Every project has different types of processes which you have followed. List down those in this process. In the whole 3 sections, the lengthiest one is process. So get creative in this field and try to list down everything possible process which you did to achieve this project to what it is. And whatever achievements you get from this project, these are the should be put under reflections. Reflections is nothing but if you reflect back to any of your projects, what did you learn from it? You learn from it that or what value you added. Maybe you can tell the value which we have added was getting for with this app design for all the UX aspiring people in this session. I would say the best reflection can be, or one of the best reflections can be, or value additions can be, through my solution, out of 20 people, 90% of them gave a 9 out of 10 rating on usability or on user experience or on problem solving. So put some, if you have been part of my previous session, I told numbers and quantifiable data gets people excited about your profile. Don't worry, I have just made it the content very simplified for you, because remember these three: And in projects, remember these three contexts: context, process, reflections. That will, this, believe me, any portfolios you see, you will see these 5 or 6 fields. These 6 fields are always there. Under different names, it can be under different names. You won't get context as a header in some portfolios, but he might give you an introduction about it. This project is what it is about and why we took this project. Process can be told about in different way. They can talk about in a more human way, like they can tell the journey which we followed. So don't get confused by the terminologies. All the terminologies used in every portfolios are synonyms of these words. That's it. So under a broader bracket, about, projects, context, process, reflections. With the third section of some benchmarks. We'll go through these section of benchmarks of 7 designers, which or architects or engineers turned designers, who are, have done their portfolios and have documented their portfolios, and they are live right now. We'll go through this. Okay. He has done good in the first thing of the portfolio, about it. He gave a brief description what he is, what he does. Okay. And some kind of a project he has just showed it, not fully, so that recruiters are interested to see below what the content is. Okay, so from here I can see actually what project is. Okay, so he designed some home internet security, and so all these projects, and some projects he has put outside, and some brief description. This brief description can be the context of it. As I have mentioned you, context, process, and reflections. You can also put reflections over here, because reflections also put some numbers. Rap Studio did some boundaries. It helped define Rap's online strategy and design a website showcasing 20 years of cutting edge this. This is a correct example of a reflection. What I have done in that project is, you need to put it on your brief page where you're showing. Like example, I helped Hugo shape their brand and user experience. Okay. So these are some kind of a reflections of value additions which you need to put, so that at least before looking into detail of the project, let me get excited about it. And a very good visual. See, post any miscellaneous or hobbies or other curriculums which you have done, which don't have a detailed out process. Don't put it under the projects section. Put it as a separate section of extracurriculars, or you can put it as archives or other projects. If you put all of your small scale projects into your main project listing, that does not give a serious decision making for your recruiters. They won't be interested at all. So here the good things are a brief description, the present context where he's working. If you see over here, his contact and work. If you see the sequence, about, work, and contact. Okay, going down, he has only listed 4 projects which he has done. Very crisp, latest projects he's put a title. Let's get into a detailed project of one. If you see the whole site, example, the chronology is the title, what he has done, overview. In some of the projects, there might not be a client, so it will be a brief about the challenge, what you took, what is the timeline of that project. It's very good to showcase this context. So this is what I'm talking about, context, which a lot of people call it overview also. So don't get, context is nothing but knowing what you have done for that project and why you reached that project. So this is why, the challenge. This is outcome, what you got of it, which can also be talked as reflections. And this is the timeline and what was your role. There are some interviews which you take on surveys, etc. And this is the whole process. Some personas made. So in a bottle shell, bringing the whole content down, I would like to say she has followed the exact process of UX methodology, which you see and study in books and take courses. So there is a define basically this is design brief. There is the information architecture. This is what is called information architecture, how you click through, etc. All the architects can also get a clarity why it is called information architecture, because it's how you navigate inside your website. That's why. Task flows, then final designs. Designs can be any logo. If you have designed, all the visual designers, logo design is something which you love to do and which you all should do to make your website or make a logo for yourself or your project. It sees and shows the recruiter the interest of your visual skills. Show the process. Definitely always show the process of how you reach to that logo, because suddenly if you show this logo, I might not feel intrigued that you explored more options. So here I can see some options have been explored. Okay. Then you put a brand color, then final style guides. Definitely I'll in next sessions or master classes in the UX processes, I will explain you how a UX process works. So this narrative or a content which should define your narrative. Why? So if you just bombard with so many visuals, it won't give an enticing. So at last she has given a link also. So this is actually click. She has given a prototype. This is a very good thing which I wanted to highlight. So if I click on this, so everyone know free tools are there, XD, Photoshop, etc., and you can link it like this. So she has built a prototype which everyone can see. This is basically a shopping tool for women, etc., all people. How she. So this is one of the project which I liked. Is that one of the things I liked is that he gave a catchy name to that project. Definitely the project is here, but a catchy name, a fish in your ear, talking to strangers, scrolling in money, and the arsenal of startups, designing a festival. 5 projects crisply shown on project section. The best number, a lot of people ask me, and I would clarify here also, a lot of people ask me that how many number of projects should I keep in my portfolio? Any number from 3 to 5 is a very good number. More than 5, attention spans are less. Definitely you can put it in others if you want to show some other projects, but under your main projects, 3 to 5 is the correct number. Okay, 3 projects, and from that 3 to 5, 3 projects should be detailed out. Detailed out means serious projects. Means each project you have taken at least 2 months of time to actually come up with the idea, do the research, and implement the design. Coming to an Indian designer, okay, Rahul Jain. More detail about his stuff, resume, etc. kind of thing. He made another page. Coming to his project section, let's see. Again, from UX standpoint, architecture standpoint, whoever aspiring people are there in this session, visualize these pages and just see for a fact that how you can put and display. But the content is same again, name, some kind of a reflection, detail of the site. He directly put the site. Okay. So basically he has worked on a project and he's put that on top. Rest all the projects coming soon. So if you have a project which is not live, so you can definitely put the link to that prototype, which is a good thing. Let them see and interact with your solution. Okay. If a lovely thing would be all the architects over here. I have seen a lot of websites, and I would suggest that whenever you are showing a detailed mockup, there are innumerable 3D tools through which you can show a 3D view of the house. Okay. See, do some research and see how you can showcase your product more unique way. Okay. That is one. So rest all the projects are there, and portfolio, all the UX designers see, I would not encourage this. I deliberately chose this portfolio for you to showcase what not to do. Don't do this, please. If you're doing this, what is happening is that too much of information clutter. Visual design, she gave a generic terminology. That's not a project also. So this is like kind of a hobby. So that doesn't come under your work. This is your portfolio, I agree, but this should come under a different layout or a format. This is a final portfolio I would like to showcase for the people who are switching from non-creative backgrounds. I don't believe in this non-creative or creative stuff. I think everyone is creative. I'm just saying non-design background. Okay. He might be a software engineer. He's from a technical background, but he's definitely creative with his work. He How come he created a portfolio? If all the engineers out there, I would give a hands up and a call to you that you all can design much better on the whole portfolios. I really liked his portfolio because one of the things is that he didn't waste a lot of space to give a hero shot image of himself or talking about himself. He just directly gave one liner and he started off with his first three best projects, and directly he gave a about section over here. So his if you see his landing page, so he took some 5 projects and there are no other hobbies or etc. So there are only projects, etc., etc. Some testimonials. All the architects, I would want to know that whatever projects you have worked on, take testimonials or feedbacks from your client and document those. It is a very good thing that people are interested in testimonials or ratings. You can take ratings. UX designers, any app which you design, go and show it to your sister and take a rating from her, and similarly do it for maybe 10 other people, 10 other friends of yours. Let's get into some tools. Of you might know these three, right? Very less or no one might knowing me this. Let me show you this and I'll show you a small example of how in 5 seconds I built something out of scratch in this tool. Let's go into detail of these 5 through Behance. A lot of people over here, architects, designers might be knowing this, right? It's a good platform to actually showcase your detail of any project. Okay, so you can give a detail. So Behance is a free tool. You can put videos, you can put prototypes, you can put GIFs, any multiple. It supports all assets or all exportable items. And you can also put text. Lot of image he has put, but yes, Behance everyone knows. So I won't tell much about this. One of the very creative tools, minimal, because it has it works as a website. Behance doesn't give you templates of websites, but Adobe Portfolio gives that feeling of you are actually having your own website. So you can see multiple templates. You can use whichever fits to your personality, and there are innumerable, and definitely each template also you can more redesign it or retweak it accordingly. Cool. So yes, definitely Medium. Everyone knows it as a writing, but Medium publications are there is a feature which Mediums gives you is Medium publications. Publications is nothing but I can build my own publication and share my blogs under that publication. So her name is Orly. She has created a free Medium is free, so a free website kind of a with some similar looking as a website, but still it has a Medium logo. So basically, people know that it's hosted on Medium. It's still not my own website, but still it is a good starting point for creatives who want to start with existing platforms. So Medium, if you see her, there are UX case studies. So, but at a glance, I would want to show that content writing, she has a separate write up stuff. As UX case studies, you might be knowing this is a blog, then how come a project can be shown? But Medium's intent was to write blogs, but Medium also introduced showing images. Through images, they are showcasing their visuals, their products. So Medium has this thing of hosting videos also. So if you see, I can actually put images, problem statement, what is the solution which I have designed. It's loading, guys. yes, etc. What is the process? So it is looking like some kind of a Behance or any other website which we have seen on any of these top designers. Okay, so Medium is a free way of doing it. This is an example of how I have used this to start. Initially, I have started on Medium to build my own website, which I did it about me, design, research, contact me, and my LinkedIn. So they give good contact over here through which you can link it to your multiple platforms. So I have segregated it under different sections. You can create your own logo, give a your project section, give some research section, or any other topics which you are interested in. Very less people are on Medium using this, so it will be unique for you to use this tool. Okay, Adobe Portfolio is unique because it has multiple templates. So if you have more amount of templates, less number of repeatable designs you can see in the market. Okay, Behance has one template everywhere, so it doesn't look unique to your personality. Okay, it is using them. So that is the difference between Behance, Adobe Profile, Portfolio, and Medium. Coming to Corofloat, Corofloat I have not used extensively, but this is also one of the tools which you can use. It's free. It works on the same guidelines of Behance. This is one interesting thing which I would like to want you guys to share and explore. First of all, explore, see if you like, use it. If you don't like, but before discarding it, see the potential of it. Okay, Cargo is a tool which has some templates, and those templates are actually very unique in its own way. If you see, if I go, there are some templates over here which drastically has some different views. Architecture people, lot of images and renders are necessary, so this is one of the way. Maybe according to your personality you wanted making more quirky, so this can be your thing. But all these stuff, don't use too creative layouts also, because sometimes you will miss that um, factor of standard. Lot of websites are simple. If you want to get into design or etc, make your content simple and highlight your work section. This template might not be highlighting the work section, it is highlighting you. So try to make your work section highlight more. And from this lot, I in the morning I just explored this stuff. Let me see how I can build something on this minimal kind of a structure. So this is what I came up with. Small description about me, what I do, check out my work. This is a landing page, okay? So no much projects. And this is a brief description about me, maybe some kind of a. If I go to the edit mode, so this is the tool which I want you all to explore and see. So this gives you two kinds of layouts. So it is responsive, how I can view it in a desktop, how I can view it in a phone. You can tweak the images. You can design anything over here. See, there are multiple viewpoints, alignments, pointers. Go into the design section, and you can actually design your content. I was exploring this image or design part where extensively you can use any background images. You can actually tweak it accordingly. You can actually have an overlay. You can, so there are multiple tools. You as creative architects or engineers or etc, any tool you are afraid to, anyone is afraid to start a new tool is because of it is non-user friendliness. So I would encourage you to explore this stuff and see if it is simple or not, or use any other tools which you like, Adobe Portfolio, any other stuff. So this is what quickly I made for 5 minutes in the morning, which I wanted to share with you. See, a lot of designers over here who have used, if you see the example, WordPress he is using this, he is using that, he is using this, etc., etc. Everyone are using some of the other tools which are there in the industry, and some definitely, I'm not saying hard and fast rule you cannot design, you definitely can, but there is a process of, there's a lengthy process if you go developing from scratch. Okay, if you see my presentation over here, let's go to paid. WordPress is paid. WordPress is something you need to design, that is free, but to subscription is there for every year to actually keep the site live. That GoDaddy also does, or any tool, any online does. Okay. Now, what Yashika you are saying is that these tools are which what we are using the templates. What you are suggesting, I would love people, if you are at that level of actually developing it from scratch, I would give you a disclaimer that it is time taking and you need to hire a developer to actually develop or code your website. So there comes a lengthier process, kind of headache for you, because every other tool is making it easy for you to not to save your development cost. So why then to give it to a developer and make it costly? That is one question which I need to ask. If you are passionate enough and you want to do it from scratch, I would encourage everyone in the session to develop it, definitely. But till you develop, if it takes 1 year time, Yashika, or
Yes.
anyone in the session, if it takes 1 year time or 6 months time, development is takes time. And from scratch, if you are designing, I'm talking about from designing to development. Okay,
Okay.
you design, you make your projects, you build a portfolio, you have all the designs in Photoshop or Illustrator or any tool, and you make it into a PDF. You search a developer, you hire him, you give him all the assets and give him a time frame, pay him, and he gives you a code and develops it on a site. And that site you need to host it on GoDaddy, right? This is the whole process
Okay.
of actually a website. So this might take 6 to 1 year also, 6 months to 1 year. So till then, I would encourage everyone. So what will you do? You will not host any portfolio. So definitely have some free portfolios always there. And also, meanwhile, parallelly, if you are interested, build it from scratch. Okay.
Yeah, got your point.
Here, Heek comes into place because Heek is a very good platform for anyone to come and chat something and give requirements, and behind it makes your website. Example you want to see, guys? Let's start making a website. Okay, there are multiple tools. I'm showing you the possibilities over there in the industry out there, which everyone are using. See, you have a background or a backdrop of a design which is there. So here they have designed so many templates. So they just ask you, let's start with your job. What would you like your website to be? Portfolio. Designer portfolio, photographer portfolio, online portfolio, any portfolio. Okay, designer portfolio. It is building the website behind. Okay, let's see. Thank you. Here is the final proposal. You didn't like this template. Go to the next. Okay, still not. It's too much of flashy. Next, too much of typical template. Next, no, outdated, 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 outdated. Maybe. So I'm just exploring. Okay, let's suppose something. I'm not getting a perfect one. Okay, this I like. Okay, let's go with this. I choose this design. Okay, good choice. Would you like your website to have several pages or everything in one? Multiple? Single page, it won't happen. Okay, for a creative website, here are the sections that I propose. Okay, about me. You can edit this content later on in the editor. Okay, right now you can select products, contact. Next. So if you see, it has added the tab on top. Okay, you can definitely tweak this. Right now you're in the initial design phase. Okay, good. Before editing and customizing, we need to create your account. Please enter your email ID. Now starts the sign up, and it takes sign up in that sense. You're building, and after you finish your whole design, it asks you for hosting it, and there it takes the amount, whatever it takes. So take your time. It also takes images. You can design logos. You can incorporate it in your website. And Heek is a very good conversational kind of a, basically it's kind of a client which is giving you requirement. You are giving your requirements over here, and behind the system is designing for you with 20 minutes. Question: yes, I have seen a lot of architects telling that yes, engineers, I would give a disclaimer. I chose this as architecture to UX because I am from architecture to a UX background. So from personal point of view, I am gonna tell that what similarities I saw and I was passionate about to get into UX while coming from architecture background. Because a lot of people tell me that your architecture degree is waste right now. That is not at all true, guys. Any degree is not at all waste for anyone. You can definitely explore more. I would give you a similarity index over here. What is there? Let's see some similarities. Okay, for architect and as well getting into UX. What difficulties did you face in the transition? Yes, Aditya, I'll get back to you on this post this. Okay. Yes, if you see over here, let's see some of the similarities. Okay. If you are an architect, you designed physical spaces. But as a UX designer, you will be designing digital spaces. Imagine in that way. The best clue I would give is that in UX design, there is a term called information architecture. Architecture over there, information architecture means the navigation of you as a user through your digital experience. It's like telling in a physical world of architecture that you as a user, how will you navigate through your residence or this commercial complex? First, I'll go to the steps, then I'll go to the elevator, I'll go to the booth, registration booth, I'll book a ticket, I'll get into the lobby, I'll take my popcorn from the counter, I'll go and sit in this hall. That is the whole architecture or the flow of one user inside your physical space. So what if you put that into comparison with digital spaces? Yes, digital spaces has a lot of doors to it. If I want to go into about, I want to go into contact information. I want to go into someone work. In that work, I want to go into some detail. So all these are doors of digital spaces. So that is the similarity which we bring to picture, and we easily transitioned that as architects. Engineers also, if you are any civil engineer, mechanical engineer, ECE, you come up with some problems, definitely, but spaces, that is not what y'all, but products you are more related to. Engineering backgrounds are more related to product development. So if you see the process, my second point is that whenever you design any product, engineer or architect, engineer can be a ECE or a communication engineer or a triple E. All engineers are building something, right? You build something without empathizing with someone? No. You just see, if I build a phone or a phone interface for someone, you need to empathize and know who all are gonna use this product. Okay. So, and architects, no need to tell that we empathize a lot. Both know how to take and improve on upon feedback, iterative process. All, irrespective of any profession, we know this stuff, right? We are taking it every day. All projects we take and give feedback on any projects or any work. That is one. 80% of both the roles is to communicate your ideas. We are discussing this whole presentation is about what? How to design better portfolios. Why to in the first place to design a portfolio? We design portfolios to communicate our ideas. So that is the crucial part. That's what we play as architects and designers. 80% of both roles communicate their ideas. Sorry. Both professions know macro and micro understanding, like urban planning people, urban design people, architects designing a commercial complex. How will that affect your neighborhood, your city? And how will micro spaces inside your commercial complex gonna be placed? So there is a macro to micro understanding, a bigger picture to a smaller picture. It's similar for engineers also. You, before building any product development or product, you see the bigger picture of how this will be impactful or how will this help a lot of people. And then you come to the micro designing of it, of how should I incorporate multiple features inside this. Okay, that is one. Both know how to work within design systems. This is what I would not empathize with engineers. I would here you might miss this point, but you will be trained if you are getting into any design spectrum. There are some design systems which we use for any architecture or design background, that if I'm designing a building or something, so there are some standards or some protocols to be followed, which are used as standards for our codes, bylaws, etc. So in design background also, whenever you are coming into UX or visual design or product design, you try to tend to use some standard design systems like iconography, like fonts, like layouts. These are all different design systems which we need to use as designers, okay? Which have already been defined. Both have visual design skills, because a lot of people, you know how many juries you have given as an architect or in architecture colleges, and how many presentation decks you have prepared for each product. That is important. Both know a lot of tools, irrespective of anything, Photoshop, Illustrator, etc. And the most important part is that irrespective of any profession, architect, engineer, or anything, design is a field where there is not one way of solving a problem. There are multiple ways of solving one problem only. Like if you see in women's safety, there are multiple apps and multiple products which a lot of people have designed from different backgrounds. An engineer has also designed something for women's safety. An architect has also designed some space for women's safety. A designer is also done. An interaction designer is also done. A jewelry designer has also done. So, what do you get a clue out of this? Design invites a lot of different perspectives. So, architecture, if you're coming from a different background, you are putting a different perspective to UX and you are thinking in a different way, which UX people want you to think. All industry people in industry want you to think in a different way. So this plays a major role. So if you are irrespective, an engineer or architect or anything, or from an arts background, you give a different perspective to a design problem. Okay. Okay. Let's summarize with all the session what we have done. Remember the sequence, guys. About work, projects, contact. Projects has context, process, and reflections. Okay. Make case studies. Don't make project. Don't make just screenshots. Don't give a narrative. Case study is a story. Okay. Follow that story and make case studies. At least 3 detailed out. Online presence is crucial. That's why we all discussed about different tools which are there, free and paid. So be online and start putting out content. First work on your projects at least for 2-3 months to build one project, and then start your portfolio, and then put more projects. Okay, it should happen parallelly. Okay, all things to remember, I've jotted down. Have a narrative or storyline before starting any project, or before documenting any project inside your portfolio. Crisp and short intros, 3 projects of your expertise, 2 in detail, short descriptions, and highlight the process. Add some testimonials, it adds a lot of value. Conclude each project with your achievements or reflections, which I would say you have learned. Put your resume over there, contact, showcase real world work, even if it has problems. Like real world can be, in your example, all the people aspiring designers, real world can be redesigning any existing problem, redesigning any existing solution which is out there. So that is a real world work. Okay. Real world can be about real issues also. Like you have come up that we are seeing a lot of in media that there is too much of COVID-19 panic scenarios. Can you design some solution to reduce that panic? Give a more information for people who don't know about this stuff. This is one way of telling. Okay. So that is a real world issue. Okay. Less design exercises. Don't put design exercises which you have done in academic. Exercises are not detailed out. You need to, if you have exercises, put that or document that into a deep case study. Okay. Talk about results, reflections, use acronyms or use some kind of a phrases which everyone can know. Okay. Definitely in architecture background and engineering background, you use some exploded views. Can we use that something? Okay, exploded views we still can understand. I'm talking about some jargon which company industry people use. I don't use information architecture also, because for people to understand, I give more like a task flow. Okay. But definitely information architecture, a lot of people are knowing right now. I've just given an example. So see to that your content is not very complex to understand. Don'ts. This is what you try to avoid. Don't use your portfolio as an archive of all your entire work history. Don't just make it a collage of whatever you have done till now. It's not for that. Portfolio is for your best work. Rest everything should be in your hard drive. Okay. Don't include hobbies or personal projects inside professional work section. Make a separate section. Okay, already discussed. Don't rely on images, do the talking. With images, have a balanced portfolio, some text, some narrative, etc. Okay, already discussed. Don't follow the same format for every project. Every project, make it something unique in the process also. Okay, maybe use the same terminologies, but maybe the process you can have some different format. Okay, don't, this is not hard and fast rule, you can definitely go with it, but three different, think about it like three projects are like three movies, three short films. Now three short films, I want to make it something different, three experiences also. So try to, that is added benefit. Okay, don't let your design of a portfolio site become a distraction. So when you don't do all of this stuff, then somewhere distraction won't happen. And making it minimal and eye catchy is, it totally depends on your projects. Okay. So start building your projects now, and hope this session will help you to make better portfolios. And that's it from my side for this presentation. Anyone, all these research and resources will be shared to you in documents, PPTs, and etc. from Nirmal. Okay.